What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Perspective Reports channel. You saw the thumbnail, you see the title of the video. Today we're taking a trip down memory lane, but with a twist. We're not just reminiscing about the frosted tips and console wars of the early 2000s. No, we are talking about cold hard cash, because while pop culture often celebrates boy content for its coolness, its true financial powerhouse status is often overlooked. It shaped industries, it generated billions, and it left an undeniable mark on the economy. It's time to truly give them their flowers. Early 2000s Boys Content Edition. Let's get into it. So let's think about it. If it was from the years 2000 to roughly 2009, if it featured superheroes, extreme sports, or cutting-edge tech, it was likely making bank. This wasn't just about entertainment, it was a carefully constructed ecosystem designed to capture the attention and allowance of millions of young men.
Perspective Report.
Bacon and Splash, or new Eggo's
Perspective.
of strawberry banana waffles. Only available till somebody pulls the plug.
Segment 1, the entertainment ecosystem. Let's start with entertainment. Yes, superhero blockbusters, often aimed squarely at this demographic of young boys and men, truly began their modern day dominance around this time. Never before in the history of the box office movies had there really been dominance for the superhero genre until the 2000s, right? And we're speaking to the Spider-Man trilogy of the early 2000s, the X-Men original trilogy in the early 2000s, Daredevil, Elektra, the Blade movies. We can keep going, The Punisher, there's so much more. And we'll start with the specific example of Spider-Man, which came out in 2002, that original trilogy. It had a production budget of about $139 million, but swung into over $825 million globally at the box office in return. That's a massive ROI that highlighted the immense appeal and spending power of young male audiences. After all, who didn't have the Spider-Man video games? Regardless, the early 2000s was more than just Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst's romance flicks. The early 2000s also ignited the console wars, a monumental financial battle between tech giants for video game console supremacy. The launch of the PlayStation 2 in 2000 by Sony and the Xbox by Microsoft in 2001 ushered in an era of unprecedented gaming revenue. The PlayStation 2 became the best-selling console of all time, selling over 155 million units worldwide by 2012, with its peak sales in the early to mid 2000s. Meanwhile, the Xbox original console would sell 24 million units worldwide, the Nintendo GameCube sold over 21 million units worldwide, and other consoles like the Sega Dreamcast and the V.Smile educational game system, you can look that one up, sold millions of units as well. All of these consoles are considered to be a part of the 6th generation of video game consoles, and collectively, that generation sold over 226 million units worldwide in the early 2000s. This drove billions in revenues for all parties involved, except for the voice actors and lower-end game developers, of course, and not to mention these console sales directly correlated to the even larger market for the actual video game. But anyway, financial viability of the early 2000s boys content extended far beyond ticket sales, console sales, and it encompassed lucrative merchandise, home video releases that consistently sold millions of units, and licensed products. These films and video game consoles proved that content tailored to the action, adventure, and aspirational hero archetypes popular with young boys could yield not just cultural impact, but extraordinary profits, reshaping studio priorities and investment strategies for decades to come. Segment 2, Gaming and Collectibles. Beyond the console hardware wars, the video game software industry truly exploded, with specific franchises becoming cultural phenomena and sales behemoths. The Grand Theft Auto series, particularly Grand Theft Auto 3 coming out in 2001 and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas coming out in 2004, redefined open-world gaming and proved the immense appetite for mature-rated content among this demographic. Grand Theft Auto 3 sold over 17.5 million copies, while San Andreas surpassed that, selling over 27.5 million copies worldwide. These sales figures were unprecedented for video games at the time and generated hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in direct revenue for publisher Rockstar Games. Their success not only validated a new genre, but also demonstrated the remarkable profitability of creating immersive narrative-driven experiences that resonated deeply with a predominantly male, often teen to young adult audience willing to spend significant discretionary income on these titles. The impact extended beyond just game sales, influencing console purchases, driving discussions in forums and early social media, Hello Friendster and MySpace, and contributing to overall cultural relevance and legitimacy of video games as a form of entertainment. The GTA franchise in particular became a template for future open-world successes and live service games, proving the enormous financial potential when gaming content truly captured the zeitgeist of its target demographic. Which leads us to the digital phenomenon of Pokemon and the first few games that had a monumental impact on the early 2000s. After an initial US release in 1998, the Pokemon Red and Blue video games became a massive cultural hit by the turn of the millennium, drawing in millions of children and teens eager to catch, train, and battle with their digital monsters. The financial scale of this phenomenon was staggering. By 2006, the franchise's global sales had surpassed 175 million video game units, according to Nintendo's reports. This translated into billions in revenue from software sales and a vast array of associated merchandise, including action figures, plush toys, and the incredibly popular Pokemon trading card game.
Up next, more Perspective Reports on Nick. Fantastic.
But it wasn't just digital experiences driving the early 2000s boy content economy. The collectible card game craze, led predominantly by Yu-Gi-Oh!, was a physical money printer for its creators. Following the success of its massive anime launch in the US in 2001, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game rapidly became a global sensation, drawing in millions of young boys eager to battle with their decks and collect rare cards. The financial scale of this phenomenon was staggering. By 2009, Konami, the game's publisher, announced that total sales of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game had surpassed an incredible 22 billion cards sold worldwide. This translated into billions in revenue from individual booster packs, starter decks, structured play events, and a vast array of associated merchandise. This enduring popularity proved the immense financial power of cultivating a collecting habit within a young male audience. The desire to own rare cards, complete sets, and enhance competitive decks fueled a constant stream of purchases, creating a robust secondary market. However, this was all just a rerun of what previous generations had already experienced. That was through sports memorabilia and trading cards, and also rare comic book collector's editions, not to mention cereal box merchandise and Happy Meal toys, all coaching generations of young male boys and teens to complete the set. And all of this demonstrated how a well-executed intellectual property plan could translate directly into billions in physical product sales, extending beyond digital entertainment into tangible goods.
Perspective Reports every day at 5/4 Central.
So not the drama.
On Disney Channel.
Segment 3, Sports, Lifestyle, and the Early Internet. The early 2000s also saw the peak of extreme sports culture, heavily marketed to boys and young men, creating a distinct lifestyle category. Games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater weren't just highly successful video games, they were cultural phenomena that elevated skateboarding and other action sports into mainstream consciousness and directly influenced related retail spending. The entire franchise sold over 20 million units by 2007, that's for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, making it one of the best-selling sports video game series ever. This gaming success had a direct, tangible impact on real-world retail. It inspired a surge in skateboard sales, with industry estimates indicating hundreds of millions in sales annually during this period. Beyond the boards, however, it fueled massive growth in action sports apparel and footwear brands like Vans, Volcom, Quicksilver, and DC Shoes, which saw their revenue soar as young consumers adopted the styles seen in games and on professional athletes. Also, shout out to Fat Farms. This cultural influence wasn't limited to just skateboarding, as other board sports experienced a similar boom. Surfing saw its own digital counterparts with games like Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, bringing the experience of catching waves to consoles, while the snowboarding genre was dominated by the wildly popular SSX Tricky series, which sold over 800,000 units on PlayStation 2 alone. These games helped popularize the sports and their associated fashion, especially through the vibrant soundtracks and celebrity athlete endorsements. The success of these titles further propelled brands like Billabong and Roxy into the mainstream, solidifying a distinct board sport aesthetic that defined the decade.
Put the attitude in. The Perspective Reports show.
Night at 9:30, 8:30 Central.
The extreme sports trend also extended to magazines, events like the X Games, and sponsorships, generating a multifaceted industry worth hundreds of millions, if not billions, that was directly driven by the aspirational imagery and accessible portrayal of these sports in media targeting young men and boys. Beyond extreme sports, the traditional sports video game market was also a colossal force in the early 2000s, with game titles like Madden NFL, NBA 2K, NBA Live, FIFA, NFL and NBA Street, NHL, Tiger Woods PGA Tour, Backyard Sports, Cricket, Knockout Kings, F1 Challenge, NCAA baseball, football, and basketball, NASCAR, arena football, and rugby, among others. These, for the most part, were annual releases, and they weren't just games, they were a rite of passage for millions of young boys and teens, serving as a primary way to engage with their favorite leagues and players, and as a bonding activity with friends. This digital dominance was incredibly lucrative, with Madden NFL alone often ranking as one of the best-selling games of the year and competing with major non-sports titles like Grand Theft Auto. The financial success of these games translated into the broader youth sports market. They drove demand for official team jerseys and hats and other licensed merchandise, as young men wanted to emulate the styles they saw on the field and in the games. It also helped to drive youth sports participation by putting players on the field. These franchises educated a generation on team rosters, player ratings, and complex sports strategies, forging a deeper connection to the real-world leagues. By mirroring televised broadcasts with incredible realism, these games solidified their place not just as entertainment, but as an integral part of modern sports fandom.
He's really running from commitment.
Perspective.
Donald, the
Perspective Reports show.
all next week on Stars Theater.
This era proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the quote-unquote boy consumer was a massive economic engine, particularly in tech adoption and early internet usage. Their collective early embrace of new technologies, from the widespread adoption of MP3 players for music consumption to gaming peripherals, specialized computer hardware, and early smartphones significantly influenced product development cycles and sales strategies for countless electronic companies. These young men were often at the forefront of digital trends, driving demand for faster internet connections to play online games, better graphics cards, and larger hard drives for storing media. Their willingness to experiment with and invest in nascent technologies made them a crucial demographic for tech companies looking to scale their products. The growth of early internet cafes, LAN parties, and online gaming communities all contributed to this technological acceleration, generating billions in hardware and internet service revenue. The entire youth market, particularly young males, was being recognized for its significant direct buying power and its ability to influence family spending on technology, as well as to set broader cultural and consumption trends in the digital space. This period cemented the understanding that quote-unquote boy content and its associated tech and lifestyle trends, far from being niche, was a highly effective and immensely profitable category that commanded respect and significant investment from savvy businesses looking to tap into the next generation of digital-first consumers.
Hey everybody, I'm X, I run Perspective Reports, and I'm coming at you with a somewhat impassioned plea wrapped into a somber but hopefully impactful message. A family that I am close to in Portland, Oregon, had a double tragedy that they're dealing with, one being the father of the family was killed in an accident, and and also they had their house burned down. Terrible. I hate saying those words, but it's happened, and they have a GoFundMe, and I promised I would use my resources and channels to put the word out. So here I am for the rest of the month of August and September, all the stuff we're posting, a bunch of videos. I'm going to match anybody who comments that they have donated, at the very least $1. I don't expect much participation, but if you can, I really would appreciate it. If you cannot, that is not a big deal. Please just, appreciate anybody who could, help out if they can. And thank you so much for watching. If you're part of the community, and I just want to let you know you matter. And thank you so much. Appreciate everybody who's out there who's listening to this crazy man yell into a microphone. Let's get back to the video and we'll finish it out right here. So the next time you hear someone dismiss early 2000s boy content as just loud or chaotic or problematic, remember the numbers. Remember the billions in box office revenues, the record-breaking video game sales, the booming collectible markets, and the entire industries that thrived by understanding and catering to the desires of young men of that era. This content wasn't just entertaining, it was a powerful economic force that shaped how we consume media, tech, and culture. Early 2000s boys content didn't just entertain, they influenced and generated substantial wealth, from the boardrooms of Hollywood to the design studios of console manufacturers. The financial impact of the early 2000s boys demographic was felt far and wide. It proved the stories by, for, and about young men, often centered on action, technology, and competition, could drive massive commercial success, fundamentally altering how businesses approach youth marketing. It's time we truly give them their well-deserved flowers, not just for the nostalgia, but for the profound business and financial impact they had on the global economy. And that was Give Them Their Flowers, the early 2000s boys content edition. We'll see you in the next one. We have more content coming. This is Perspective Reports, your world strategized. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you can. Check out our website. We have a bunch of cool stuff on there. And as always, stay awesome.